everybody, welcome to another edition of Prep Huddle Live here on StrivSports.com. It's the end of April, right? If we've looked out any windows today, we have seen cold and windy, but it is the end of April, which means the spring sports season's full go, and we are excited to get almost into May, which is, of course, crunch time for the final spring sports of the entire school year. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a fun show. We're going to talk in just a little bit to Kearney boys soccer coach Scott Steinbrook about his Bearcats and their season. And then a little bit later on, we're going to bring Tony Chapman in and talk a little bit about some track and field events that happened in Grand Island on Monday with the Central Nebraska Track Championship. So excited to get kind of the firsthand perspective. But for right now, all of our guests joining us on the Truck Center Company's hotline for some great career opportunities. You can log on to their website at dieseltex.com. Kearney boys soccer coach Scott Steinbrook joins us now on the Truck Center Company's hotline. Coach, thanks for taking some time and ducking out of class for just a little bit today.
Yeah, luckily I've got some pretty good kids who actually might be listening back in the classroom right now. So quick shout out to them for being able to manage themselves while I'm not in the room here. But I appreciate you guys having me on this afternoon.
Well, some flexibility is always good for everybody. Speaking of flexibility, your guys have had a tremendous season so far, 14-3 as the season record stands after the 2-0 win over Hastings last night. Got to be real happy with the way they've played overall this year.
Yeah, there's no question. You know, we've battled through our fair share of adversity this year. You know, even going all the way back to the preseason, we lost one of our returning starters, senior leaders, with a torn ACL. We lost a kid in the preseason with a broken foot. You know, so it was a little bit of a bumpy start from an injury standpoint, but the kids have just really bought into the process of getting better, you know, and not getting caught up with, you know, all some of those adversity things we faced, and they've just improved steadily throughout the year. There's been some bumps in the road. We've had a couple heartbreaking losses, the one to GI, the one to North Star the other day, but overall I'm pretty pleased with where we're at heading into the postseason.
It seems like reading a few stories about these guys throughout the course of the season, they like to make things interesting late in games, some late-minute goals, some shootout wins. So what is it about this group of guys that tends to show up late in games?
Well, they're competitors. You know, a lot of these kids are multi-sport athletes. You know, they're playing high school football, they're playing high school basketball. We've got some wrestlers, so they're a real competitive bunch. And I don't know what it is, but you're right. We do have a bit of a flair for the dramatic, and we've scored more goals in late in games or in extra time or overtime and gone into a handful of shootouts than probably, you know, I've ever experienced here. Our record is 14-3. We feel very fortunate, but it could easily be, you know, maybe 3 or 4 more losses or 3 or 4 less wins. So I think our kids understand that we have a really good record and we've had a really good year, but we're still a young team. We're still learning, and I really do admire the way they compete till the very end. And we haven't won all those close games, but there's no quit in this bunch, and I think that will definitely serve us well as the season wraps up here in the next few weeks.
Take us down the roster a little bit and introduce us to the Bearcats for this season.
Well, I tell you what, you know, I mentioned a little bit ago, we are a really young team. I don't think I've ever put a team this young on the field, but we knew we had some talented youngsters in our program. But I still think high school athletics is still going to be defined by your seniors. You know, what do your seniors bring to the table on the field, off the field, in the locker room from a leadership role? So we have a small but mighty group of seniors: Leo Palomo, Ishmael Escalante, Matt Munch, John Erickson, and Brant Spath. Now, unfortunately, we lost Leo to a season-ending injury, but he's still our captain. He's still a leader. Matt Munch is our second leading scorer. He's got 5 goals. Brant Spath and John Erickson have been starting defenders for us the majority of the season. And then Ishmael Escalante is a good role player, reserve forward off the bench for us. And then after that, it gets real young, real fast. Goalkeeper Jacob Hardy's a sophomore. Leading scorer Royce Austin with 18 goals, second in the state right now, is a sophomore. We've got a freshman, Bryce Kavarik, who has recently entered the starting lineup as a defender. Our other 2 midfielders, Carson Schwartz is a sophomore, Matt Studi is a junior. So again, it's pretty crazy that as youthful as these guys are, they've been able to kind of put together the season they have. But so we're excited about what the end of this season brings, but it's hard not to also be equally excited about what the future holds the next couple of years for this crew.
And then something that we were kind of talking about a little bit before we came on air was the fact that you guys opened up a brand new facility, brand new school this year for Kearney High, and it's a really a treat to been been able to see as much as we have been able to on Striv TV with the basketball games or some soccer matches, but you are getting ready for road game number 14 of the season coming up tomorrow for a trip to Millard West. Just 4 games at home all year. So what has that been like from a preparation standpoint for you as a coach?
Well, it's putting together a lot of travel itineraries and a lot of bus lists, that's for sure. But our kids know that we're not out here in the boonies necessarily, but we're far enough away from the core of Class A athletics in the Heartland Athletic Conference in Lincoln, and then the Metro Conference in Omaha. And soccer, maybe as much as any sport, is especially dominated by a small number of teams in those 2 metro areas. So about 10 or so years ago, when we felt like our program was really on the rise and we were really building, we like playing our geographic rivals. You look at what Lex has done, Grand Island, North Platte, Hastings, very respectable teams. But we felt like in order to take the next step, we needed to get some of the elite teams on our schedule. We needed to play Millard West. We needed to play Millard North. We needed to make sure we played all of the Lincoln schools. We play Elkhorn every year, play Bellevue West, Bellevue East. We just needed to get more metro games. And for us, really the only way we could get as many metro games as we wanted was to play in tournaments. So we go 3 or 4 weekends to Lincoln or Omaha to play in little 4-team tournaments. And it's not like those tournaments come back to Kearney every other year. Those are in Bellevue every year. They're in Lincoln every year. They're in Omaha every year. But our kids know that. They buy into it. It's kind of that we'll take on anybody, anywhere, anytime, the old Fresno State Pat Hill line. And our kids buy into that. It's a challenge. And we have played a pretty tough schedule. The travel has made it tough. The opponents made it tough. But thankfully, we've earned it right now. We get to host 2 more games. So now we're going to have Omaha Central, Omaha Benson, and Lincoln High have to get on a bus and come out to Kearney. And those teams, looking at the 2 Omaha teams, they've not left Omaha metro area once all season. And now for the biggest games of their seasons, they got to come all the way out to Kearney to play at our new facility. So we're excited about that opportunity.
And we have talked with plenty of the Kearney coaches, be it softball, basketball, football, throughout the year. The support for Kearney athletics is it's such a big school in a big town, but you have the luxury, I guess, of only having one other high school in town. So how has been the support been this year for the guys?
It's been tremendous. That's one of the things we were most excited about, opening up a new stadium on campus that our track teams use, that our soccer teams use, that down the road in a few years our football team will probably use it. But, if anybody saw our boys or girls basketball teams play, or if anybody came to a home wrestling duel this year, when there's an event on campus, our students come out and watch, and they come out and support our teams like crazy. And we've always been kind of spread out. We'd always play a couple games at UNK. We'd play a couple games at Baldwin Park, which is a nice little city park complex, but it's just not the same. When you have your own stadium on your own campus and the kids can walk right out of the weight room or walk right out of track practice or come back after a day of class and be in the stadium sitting with their fellow students, we've had some tremendous crowds. I can't imagine, maybe outside of Omaha South or Creighton Prep, I can't imagine there's any other schools in the state that have had the type of atmosphere and the type of crowds that we've had. And we're excited to hopefully translate that to even bigger games as we head to the postseason years. So we're going to try to get some promotional events out there where we're getting our kids to the games, and it should be a great opportunity for our kids and for our students to support our soccer teams.
And before that postseason starts for this year, you've got, like we mentioned, the road game to Millard West. So what is the scouting report for the Wildcats?
Well, they're darn good. Every year Millard West kind of seems to hit their stride about the right time. We have a nice little friendly rivalry with Millard West. Back in 2009, they beat us in the state championship game on a last-second goal, and that just kind of started a relationship between our 2 programs and a lot of mutual respect. So every year since that 2009 state final, we've played Millard West, and they've shown a willingness to come out to Kearney and play, and we've obviously shown a willingness to go to Millard to play. And we've both been fortunate. We've had good players in our programs. We've established some tradition, so we're a lot of times using this game as a measuring stick. Okay, how do we stack up to an elite team? They're a top 3 team right now. They just beat Creighton Prep 2 nights ago, who is still the unanimous favorite to win the Class A title, but that speaks to how good Millard West is playing right now. So it's just one final regular season measuring stick until we have the opportunity to go into the postseason. And I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately, we've had the opportunity to play Millard West in the postseason as well a number of times over the year. But it's always a great matchup, and we're definitely looking forward to the trip tomorrow.
And then as we just saw it this morning, so I had to add this question, and you've already alluded to it a little bit, the fact that district's coming up for the first week of May, and you guys get a host. May 2nd, Lincoln High comes to town, and then Omaha Central and Benson are on the other side of the bracket. Talk again about how it will feel to actually be able to be at home for a district match.
Yeah, when the state went to the seeding process where the top 7 teams got to host, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we've been able to earn a host site in all but one of those years. And what's really ironic, in every one of those years, we've qualified for the state tournament, except the year that we didn't host. We had to go up to South Sioux City, and we got beat by Papillion La Vista in an opening round game. So, travel does take its toll on teams, especially if they're not used to doing it. And we're used to traveling, but like I said earlier, Omaha-Benson and Omaha Central, they have not left the Omaha metro area for a game all season long. So they got to come out here and play each other. And then 2 nights later, hopefully we win. One of those 2 teams is going to win. And then we'll play them in the district final. But we actually played Lincoln High in the season opener at a tournament in Omaha. We beat them 3-1. It was a really competitive game. So I think our kids will come into that opening round game knowing that it's not just going to be walk out there and you get the result. We're going to have to play well to win that first game. Then we can refocus on either Central or Benson. Probably going to be Central, but it's the postseason. You never know.
Never know. It's always fun to share those stories. And, Coach, we look forward to seeing how you and the Cats progress for the rest of the year. Thanks a lot for taking some time today. You
bet. Thanks for the time, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Folks, stay with us. Coming up, Tony Chapman will join us, and we will talk about some track and field. That's next on Prep Huddle Live on StrivSports.com.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
Hey, what's going on?
Just checking the fields. Yours are looking pretty good. Must be doing something right.
Actually, I got a guy.
You got a guy.
Well, it's not just any guy. I got a channel seedsman.
Channel, yeah?
Yeah, I've been working with him pretty close to get, well, you can see for yourself. This is what I'd recommend. Let's get to work. Now, this is what you want to see.
Maybe I should get a guy.
Maybe you should get a channel seedsman.
Find your channel seedsman at channel.com.
Nova Fitness Equipment of Omaha has provided the very best weight room, track and field, and sports surfacing products for over 30 years in Nebraska. They provide Cybex, Matrix Fitness, Vertimax, Tough Stuff, Pro Elite, Stairmaster, York Barbell, Troy Barbell, and UCS track and performance products. From rubber flooring, strength equipment, cardio products, and sports performance accessories, Nova Fitness Equipment has what you need to make your athletic program successful. Contact Nova Fitness Equipment today at their home office in Omaha or online at novafitnessequipment.com. Home-cooked favorites and online ordering so you can skip the line. That's what you'll find at Dickey's Barbecue in York. Log on to dickeys.com, select the York address, sign in, or create a profile, and you'll be ordering delicious barbecue in just seconds. Choose from a variety of meats like brisket, pulled pork, chicken breast, or sausage. Add a home-style side like waffle iron fries, fried onion tanglers, barbecue beans, and even fried okra. You won't go away hungry. Try Dickey's Barbecue today and log on to dickeys.com. Kids eat free on Sundays.
Trucking industry gives you a lot of opportunity for careers because there's such a wide, vast list of possibilities and areas that you can go into. As technicians, these trucks are as advanced as cars are today, so we need technicians that can work on them and understand how to work a computer system and get them up and running so the customer can make money. These trucks are workhorses, but they're built for comfort and they're easy to drive. Freightliner builds these trucks for drivers' wants and customers' needs.
Thanks for waiting on us there, folks. Taylor Siebert laughing at us. Yes, he is. Terrible. Right behind the camera, too. It's so just no. Central Nebraska Track Championships were this past weekend. We bring in Tony Chapman now on the Truck Center Company's hotline to talk a little bit about it. Tony, it has been a long time. How's it going, man?
It's going. They were on Monday, actually, not last weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I just had to say something.
Thank you. Monday. 25th year of it, though, in Grand Island. It's a really cool event because it's not just the Class A. It's not just the Class B or C or D. And they don't even compete within the classes. It's the best of the best in the Grand Island Independent area.
Yeah, it's really good meet, and it has been for a long time. You don't have the Class A element anymore because Grand Island Senior High and Hastings High don't compete it anymore. I believe there's a conflict now with the conference track meet, something or rather that has taken those two teams out of the equation. But you've got everybody else. So you've got Aurora and Grand Island Northwest kind of as Class B schools, a load of class, obviously Class C and Class D schools, and just a very, very well-run meet, one that runs smooth, and kids maybe sometimes might not do all their events, obviously because they're not in the top 8, or if they're in the top 8, maybe that turnaround is a little too quick. We had that one with Brett Wojtovic because he's really one of his best events is a mile. He's about a 4:40 miler, 4:45 I think, which would have put him right with the winner from St. Cecilia in that event as well. So it'll be interesting to watch Brett as the season goes along. He's got a chance to possibly win 3 gold medals at the state track meet, and that could be really special weekend for Fullerton.
Yeah, Fullerton, and he had a tremendous day that day on Monday there in Grand Island. 400, the 800, and we saw the picture from Austin, and if you were there by then, a dominating performance by Wojtovic as well.
Yeah, I watched the race. Of course, he was right at about 50 flat coming in. Jaden Rodabaugh from Grand Island Northwest, one of the top times in Class B at like 50.25. And Wojtovic he won the thing by probably 15 meters is my guess. It was 49.76, I believe was the electronic time. And so you've got you got a really, really fast race. Of course, he's a sophomore. And then he runs a 2-minute .05. Just misses the 2-minute mark in the 800 and won that one kind of going away. And so it'll be interesting to watch him at state. He'll be able to space those events out a little bit, and you sometimes can get even better times just by how the meet is set up going that way. It's a really quick turnaround between the 4 and the 800 at the Central Nebraska. I think he probably only had 30 to 35 minutes between those two events. Watched both of those races, and he's pretty dominating in both races. Excellent runner.
And then on the girls' side, for the athlete of the meet, it was another Striv school, and it was Riverside sophomore Alex Bloom. And Alex maybe had a little bit of the undercard, if you will, to Carson Sears of Northwest in the sprints, but it was Alex that came out on top.
Yeah, you talk about Alex Bloom. How about that day? I mean, she basically is going against the defending athlete of the meet, and Carson Sears, who I believe last year won all 3 events, the 100, the 200, and the long jump. And this year, Bloom kind of turned that trick. She wins all 3 events. Of course, she was on that dominating Riverside 4x100 meter team from last year that set the Class D all-time record. And then you had Alex, I believe Sears was 3rd in the long jump and then 2nd in both the 100 and 200, with Bloom winning those events. And I think Taylor Corning from Henderson was 2nd in the long jump. And she had a nice meet as well. When you look at her 2nd place there in the long jump, I believe she was maybe 3rd in the 200, and then in the 800, she won that one going away.
Yep, she won that one, and another repeat from last year was actually Heartland's Ben Drever won the pole vault again and set a new school record. Apparently, Ben just really likes pole vaulting in Grand Island.
Yeah, he likes pole vaulting in Omaha too. Yeah, 14 and 11, 14 feet 11 inches, I believe, was his height. And it was kind of they've got kind of a secluded pole vault pit there at Northwest with some trees around and stuff. But, it wasn't the easiest day to pole vault. I'd say the wind was maybe blowing 10, 15. It might have been gusting to 20 miles an hour occasionally. It was not a terrible day to run, but the pole vault was probably one of the tougher events. I would say the pole vault and the high jump. But Ben rolled through that one again, as you said, 14-11. I think he's a leader in Class D again. Of course, the defending champion in that event. So it'll be fun to watch him as it comes down. And then you had a couple other boys. Dalton Peters is a guy who all year has been performing very, very well for Aurora. Won the shot put and the discus, a double winner there. Of course, it'll be interesting to see down at the state tournament. He went. He'll battle against Cameron Juergens, the Nebraska football recruit of Beatrice, who's the defending champion in both of those events. And Dalton was second to Cameron at the Nebraska Track and Field Festival last Friday as well. And then you had Vincent Ullman from Central City, who beat Tanner Lehrman in both the hurdles. Two great races there. But Ullman got the 110 highs, and then he got the 300-meter hurdles for a double win there as well. And then probably the one that we probably should have wrote about a little more, but this Aurora girls 3,200-meter relay team won that event for the sixth time in a row. So you had Emily Standage and Jonna Bart, who are now four-time champions in that event for Aurora, and they set a meet record. They're just edging out the old record from Central City in 2004. And I believe they have the all-time area Class B mark from the Grand Island Independent from their time last year at the state meet. So they've got all four back, and they're probably the heavy favorites to win Class B again in that race.
And then another winner from one of our Strive schools that, probably the mark wasn't where he would expect, but like you said, maybe not the easiest conditions, was Miles Griffith at St. Paul. Wins the high jump. Not too often do you see 6'3" winning a high jump competition in what essentially amounts to an all-star type atmosphere, but it was good enough on that day for Miles.
Yeah, again, I think a tough day, a really tough day to do that event. So you had a mark at 6'3". We've seen Miles go 6'10" at Central City this year. Of course, he's the defending champion Class C. I think he went 6'9" at the state meet last year. So it is a lot about the weather in the high jump. But he's legitimately probably one of the top 5 high jumpers in the state, Eric. I would think, regardless of the class, and I think you and I hope that might lead to a lot of dunks at the Strive All-Star game, where Miles will be competing there at the beginning of June.
Hopefully we could find him a clear floor for at least a couple times. Would be fun. That was the scouting report. Was not the tallest guy on the roster, but probably the best jumper at the All-Star Classic. Really, Tony, you and I both grew up as golfers and remain that to this day. But track is so unique with the skill sets that it takes. Whether it's a high jump or a pole vault, those are two jumps that take very different skill sets, which is very different from the sprints, which is very different from the distance.
I think you have, I think, the best athletes are the track athletes all the way around, from the sprinters to the distance runners, the middle distance runners, and then all the field events bring out so many different unique skill sets, whether it be jumping or the high jump or pole vault or the weight throws. Very, 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 as you say, interesting skill sets. And unique athletes, and I love seeing the combos. Whether you have a jumper who's a sprinter, or you might have a jumper who's a middle distance guy, you might have a high jumper who maybe runs on some relays. You'll always get those interesting guys who are the freak athletes, like a Scott Frost, who was a sprinter and a shot putter. We watched on Monday Jordan Pop throw the shot in the discus, and then he was the second leg of the Central City 4x100 meter relay team. That's not one you see very often, right there.
And that's probably one of the reasons that he's going to Nebraska to play football, right? Could be a good guess anyway.
I lost you.
Are you there?
I can't hear you anymore.
You can't hear me. Well, I can hear you just fine. Are you there? Nope. Tony might have gone away. I heard something.
I can't hear Eric anymore. My apologies.
Well, that's okay. Austin, I think we're good on Tony anyway. So let's say goodbye to Tony. Thank you, Tony. And we will get him again coming up next week for the show. Some of the things to watch for Striv Sports coming up, of course, the Striv All-Star Classic is coming up June 3rd. It's a Saturday, the first Saturday of June at York High School. And as debuted on the website this week, if you haven't already seen it, you too can get your official Striv socks, matching pair even. But the Striv socks available for purchase for the All-Star game or just to wear. Nice socks. Strideline is the company, but as you can see, the official Striv logo right there on the sock itself. So the socks available. The T-shirts for the Striv All-Star Classic are available as well on the website. A reminder to our players that might be watching this, the players in the Striv All-Star Classic, you get a shirt, but if a family member wants to order one, the website is the place to find that. So get the cool Striv socks and get yourself a Striv All-Star Game T-shirt on the website elsewhere here on StrivSports.com. Our next event that we are scheduled to be at for Striv Sports is this Saturday, the Southern Nebraska Conference track meet hosted by Centennial High School. There's a catch. If you've looked at the weather forecast or if you looked outside a window today, it doesn't look terribly promising for a stream. Not saying that the track meet is in danger, but for video streaming, cold, wet weather doesn't really work with audio and video equipment. So we will kind of wait and check on that forecast as we get closer to the weekend to see if indeed that is the next thing coming up for us on Striv Sports. Otherwise, as always, we say thank you to our sponsors, Cornerstone Bank, Truck Center Company, Channel Seed, Dickey's Barbecue Pit in York, and Nova Fitness Equipment for their support of everything that we do here on StrivSports.com. So that's going to do it for us today on Prep Huddle Live. Thanks for joining us, and we'll get you next week on StrivSports.com.